Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast. I am so glad you're here. This is your safe space to sip slowly, think deeply, and spark real conversations that stir the heart. I am your host, Princess, and today is Money Matters Monday. I wanted to personally apologize for the change in today's podcast lineup. Episode 3 of Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast, was originally scheduled to be our Mindful Monday interview featuring a special conversation with a social worker. Unfortunately, due to some unexpected scheduling conflicts, we weren't able to complete the interview as planned, but don't worry, I still have something special for you to keep us moving forward with purpose and positivity. Today's replacement episode is titled Sis, Secure the Bag, Budgeting with Purpose. Thank you so much for your understanding, your support, and for continuing to sip, share, and grow with me. So today we're discussing budgeting with purpose because it's time to secure the bag and walk into wisdom. Let's get right into it. My focus today is a short heart-to-heart on financial wellness, especially around purpose-driven spending, budgeting, saving a little talk on saving, and breaking generational habits with money. This is a new affirmation that I found and believe it is right in line with today's discussion. I am worthy of wealth, wisdom, and well-being. I'm going to repeat that. I am worthy of wealth, wisdom, and well-being. So let's get into the money mindset, okay? Let's be real. Money is one of the biggest stressors in our lives, but it doesn't have to be. Growing up, what were you taught about money? So let's start with my truth. I wasn't taught much about money growing up. No one sat me down to talk about budgets, savings, or long-term planning. In the 90s, I bought my first home, but ended up going through a foreclosure, bankruptcy, and divorce. Life came at me fast. I didn't really learn about budgeting, saving, or planning for retirement until later in life. But guess what? Later is still right on time. Before I retired in 2017, I made a decision. I paid off all my bills to prepare for my next season. Sis, it is never too late to shift. Your past does not disqualify you from financial peace, okay? Now let's move to what I've learned about purpose-driven spending. Now that I'm in this new chapter, exploring social media, podcasting, and building something meaningful, I'm spending with more intention. Every dollar has an assignment now, whether it's equipment, education, or just peace of mind. Purpose-driven spending means saying no to what doesn't serve your calling and yes to what feeds your future. One more time. Purpose-driven spending means saying no to what doesn't serve your calling and yes to what feeds your future. That means sometimes you don't click add to cart, not because you can't, but because you know it's not aligned with where you're going. And on the flip side, it means you absolutely say yes when something supports your growth, your goals, your peace, or your purpose. So in other words, to me, it means this. When I spend money, I'm not just buying something. I'm making a choice about what matters to me. For example, investing in that podcast mic, purpose driven. Buying books that feed your spirit or teach you something new, purpose driven. Choosing to stay home and cook instead of eating out 4 times a week so you can put that money towards your dream, that's purpose driven too. So it's not about being cheap or rigid. It's about being clear. Clear on what you value, clear on what you're building, and clear on the fact that your money is a tool, not just for comfort, but for calling. And let me say this. Purpose-driven spending looks different for everyone, okay? For me, it's preparing for my next season. Building this podcast community and showing up in ways that honor my second act. For you, it might be paying off debt, saving for your kids' future, or simply learning how to break generational money habits. Either way, ask yourself, does this purchase support the life I'm trying to build, or does it distract me from it? If it feeds your future, go for it. If not, baby, let it go. I'm Elsa today. Baby, let it go. You've got bigger plans, okay? Now, budgeting isn't restriction, it's preparation, okay? Back then, I didn't budget, not because I didn't want to, not just because I didn't know how, right? I did not know how to budget. Now I know a budget is just a tool to help me be a good steward over what I have. It's not a punishment, it is a plan, a way to give every dollar a job so my money reflects my values and not just my impulses. It helps me tell my money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It gives me peace of mind, not just in the moment, but for the future I'm walking into. Budgeting gave me boundaries, and those boundaries gave me freedom. So I use what I call the sticky note system, right? It's old school meets intentional living. Now, I'm a paper and pen kind of girl, so I created what I call the sticky note system, right? It's very simple, it's visual, and it keeps me accountable. And this is how it works. I grab 3 sticky notes and I label them. Must have, should have, can spend. So my must have is, and for the example for you, your must have can be a number of things, such as mortgage, rent, bills, minimum debts, insurance, etc. Your should have, emergency fund, for you retirement, travel fund, etc. Okay? So you get the kind of the where I'm going with this, right? Can spend is groceries, gas, your fund money, or anything that is flexible, right? You can stick them on a wall, planner, or folder, somewhere you see them daily. I use a planner, so that works for me. Under each category, write your monthly amounts and track progress with check marks, stars, a line through it, or little notes like $50 to go. Like whatever works for you. Make it your own, right? It's not fancy, but it keeps me focused. I check in every Sunday to update it, and seeing it in front of me reminds me that I'm in control and not my money. But you don't need a fancy app. Sometimes all you need is just that sticky note, a Sharpie, and a little discipline. That's budgeting with a grace. And don't be ashamed of how you start. Just celebrate the fact that you're starting. So any method that works for you, have at it, right? But that's just something that works for me. And they have fancy apps, but that works for me, right? So now, budgeting the cycle for the next generation. I may not have learned young, but I'm making sure I model it now for my family, my community, and even my listeners, right? Just the other day, an associate asked me about how I save, and I told her, and she wanted to know why I use the envelope system. And I told her, because I want to be intentional with what I have and and I want you to know that it's never too late to start. Even if no one showed us, we can still be the example for someone else, right? We are the curse breakers, the truth tellers, the budget keepers, and the freedom seekers. Now, I mentioned the envelope system, and I've been using to save. And that's been such a blessing for me. I'll break that down a little later in the episode, so stick with me, especially if you're looking for a simple and a double way to, a doable, can't read my own writing, guys, a doable way to start stacking your savings. Like, trust me, you'll want to hear this one. All right, so moving right along, let's get into budgeting before I go back to the savings. Budgeting basics, but make it grateful, right? Remove the fear. Budget is not a bad word. So remove that fear. Again, budget is not a bad word. It's just a plan for your peace, right? You can use a very easy method. You can use the 50-30-20 rule or your own preferred style. Just like with mapping out your bills and how you want your money to flow, you also can use a style for budgeting, right? So if you use the 50-30-20 rule, that's just a matter of 50% is your needs, 30% should be your wants, and 20% should be your savings and your debt payoff. Okay? And you start with your after-tax income, which is your take-home pay, and then divide it into 3 clear categories. Okay? Your first one, again, is 50% needs. That's simply your must-haves. Just your must-have. These are the essentials, the things you have to pay to live and function, which again includes your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, which is your electricity, your water, and your gas. Groceries, not dining out, your groceries. Transportation, your gas, your bus fare, your car insurance, that Lyft or that Uber expense, whatever your transportation is. Your health insurance and your medications. And last but not least, the minimum loan or credit card payments. So all of that is included in your 50%. Okay? So remember, the 50% needs is your must-haves. All right? And these are the bills that keep the lights on, the fridge full, and the roof over your head. All right? Now let's get to 30%, which is your wants. This is the life you enjoy. Okay? So that's your 30%. This is for the fun stuff and the creature comforts that make life feel good for you. But you can technically live without. I'm going to repeat that. This is for the fun stuff and the creature comforts that make life feel good for you, but you can technically live without. And that includes, but not limited to, dining out or your coffee shop treats, streaming services such as Netflix, Spotify, etc., shopping and clothes that aren't essential, vacations, hobbies, and entertainment. This is your yes girl money, right? It's okay to enjoy life. Just know it's okay to enjoy life. Just enjoy it within your means. All right, so now we're at the 20% savings and debt. So remember, this is the 50-30-20 rule. 20% savings and debt. That is the future you. Okay? This is your legacy money. It helps you move forward, not just to survive today. That includes, but not limited to, your emergency savings, your retirement accounts such as your 401k, your IRA, your extra payments towards your debt, and your investing. This is how you tell your future self, I got you. Whether it's getting out of debt or saving for your dreams, this is your financial glow up fund. Okay? Now, if your needs are more than 50% right now, that's okay too, okay? It just means you may need to cut back on wants or gradually rebalance. Life isn't always even, but awareness is where wisdom starts. So if you start today, and if you choose to do the 50-30-20 rule, or even something that you prefer, just start, right? It's never too late. The beauty of the 50-30 rule is that it gives your money a mission. It's not about perfection. It's about being intentional. Okay? Whether you write it out on paper, use a budgeting app, or do it on a sticky note like me, just remember, every dollar deserves a purpose. I encourage you guys to personalize your budget, your life, your blueprint. I'm going to say that again. Personalize your budget, which means your life, your blueprints. Personalizing your budget is your life, your blueprint. Okay? And budget is just your boundaries with a blessing attached. Okay? Now, let me ask, have you ever had a financial wake-up call like I did with the divorce, the foreclosure, bankruptcy? And what did it teach you? And what's one thing you want to do differently with your money going forward? Like, these are all questions that I had to ask myself. Like, what did it teach me? It taught me to get up and start again. It taught me to budget. It taught me to save. It taught me to move towards my second act after retirement. So I love to hear from you. Since you're tuning in on Spotify, here's how you can share your cocoa and coins. I call the phrase cocoa and coins moment with me, okay? You can DM me on Instagram at Princess Ray, or Facebook under Princess Jacqueline R. Lovelace Coleman, or send an email to princess48ray@gmail.com. Okay? Tell me about your real life money wake up call, or that one financial shift you're making going forward. And hey, if you're sipping something while doing it, even better. Let's talk real life money moves. No judgment here, just growth. I just might share your story on a future episode with your permission, of course, okay? So, I want to share what's working for me right now. Now, let me tell y'all what I've been doing that's been a game changer for my savings. I bought one of those cute little saving books that I kept seeing on TikTok. Yes, TikTok. And remember, I told you I would talk about my savings and how I save later. So, yes, I seen this little book on TikTok, okay? And it taught me something useful. It comes with numbered envelopes from 1 to 100, and each one represents a dollar amount. You can choose an envelope, add the money inside, and check it off as you go. So, for example, if I pick envelope number 17, I put $17 in it. If I pick envelope number 55, that's $55 that I put in that envelope. You can go in order. You can mix it up based on what you can afford that week, if you're doing it weekly, bi-weekly, however, but whatever you can afford, you fill your envelopes the way you want to. Okay? And y'all, when you complete all 100 envelopes, you have saved over $5,000. To be exact, I think it's 5,190, I believe. Okay? It's visual, it's simple, and it actually makes saving kind of fun. And I never thought I would say that. You can also find it on Amazon, the little book. You can find it on Amazon. So it's easy to get your hands on it if you really want to start stacking in a small but mighty way. Okay? But guess what? I didn't stop there. I actually bought a few more books. I gave a couple to my partner, and now we've turned it into a little friendly savings challenge. Who can fill their book first? Who makes the progress more? It really makes the process more engaging, and we hold each other accountable. He's paid weekly. I get a monthly income. Also, with the other little things that I do, I get money sparingly here and there. So he may put his money in his envelopes every week, where I may do it monthly or twice a month, But we hold each other accountable, and it has become fun. And it's not just saving, it's goal setting with a little dash of fun. That's how I see it. Some weeks I do smaller envelopes. Some weeks I knock a big one out. It depends on what I've got going on financially. But the key is I keep going. Progress over perfection always. It's just another example that you don't need to be perfect to be intentional. You just need a plan and a little faith. All right, so my closing thoughts today is I may have learned late, but I learned well. And now I'm pouring that wisdom back out to you guys. You don't have to be perfect to start. You just have to be willing. So, all right, my friends, that wraps up today's Heart to Heart. But don't worry, I'll be back next Monday. I believe that's May 5th with Season 1, Episode 4 of Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast. So go ahead and mark your calendar. Pour your favorite drink. Meet me back here for more good vibes, real talk, and purpose-filled conversations. Okay? I will, in the episode, in the comments, I will drop all of my handles and my email. So if you want to reach out to me, you can, and we can talk about it on another episode. Until then, take care of yourself, take care of your coins, and as always, peace and blessings. I love you guys, and I mean it.